Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about AP comparative government economics, but we're going to start with one subject and then bleed into the other, and that is economics. There is some economics, on bigger scale macroeconomics on the AP exam, but what economics is going to do is set a foundation for how you think about the world differently. Okay, and that's what the magic of this course. You actually get a better understanding about how the world works and maybe how you work, actually. First question that comes up is economics about money? Because that's immediately what people focus on is, oh, wait a minute, economics is about money. Economics is not about money. Okay. Money is actually just a method of transfer. Okay. I mean, you work at Chipotle, you want to buy a shirt at Kohl's. How do you translate the work at Chipotle to a shirt at Kohl's? I don't know. You're going to negotiate something that's going to be really weird and awkward. Oh, I know, create currency. Now we have a common method of transfer. That's all that is. Economics is much deeper into understanding how the world works. So get money out of your head. The more you think about it, the more it's going to get in the way. No, money is about this quote. The curious task of economics is to demonstrate to men how little they really know about what they imagine they can design. From economist Friedrich von Hayek, what he's talking about here is that everybody here has an idea about what they can do. What they often forget is they can't do everything they want. And economics is about the phrase, you can't have everything you want. Sorry to kill some little dream you might have had, but you're not going to have everything you want, and neither will everybody else in the world. And this right here is economics. It's the study of choice. It's the study of how people deal with the idea that they will not get everything they want. Economics is the study of how people make choices to deal with the concept of scarcity. That is the definition of what we're going to be dealing with here. And people have been engaged in making choices to deal with scarcity throughout all of human history. Then, of course, the question is, Silver Brown, what is that scarcity thing? I don't know what that is. Dealing with what? And scarcity is dealing with basic everyday questions like why does Time seem to provide better service than AT&T? They get complaints all the time. Why is housing so expensive in California? We have an answer to that. Why doesn't everybody in the world just simply get water for free? I mean, they do here at Ukiah High School. Does the average farm worker really have less importance than an NBA player? Because the average farm worker makes $17.89 an hour. The average NBA player makes $61.50 an hour. And I mean $6,150 an hour. And one puts food on the table, the other dunks. Maybe. Okay. Why doesn't everyone work towards alleviating climate change? And are you really working towards that? This is all about scarcity. Scarcity is limited resources to fulfill unlimited wants and needs. Everybody wants and needs and all kinds of stuff. But the reality is that the world has limited resources to actually deal with everybody's wants and needs. There are 8 billion people on this planet, and there is plenty of room and plenty of resources in existence to deal with some of their wants and needs. But not everything can be done for everybody. You can't have everything you want. And human history has been dealing with this problem forever. Through, the Bronze Age, Stone Age, all the way up through the Industrial Revolution to now to the AI revolution, it's all been about, oh, I have unlimited wants and needs. How can I deal with this limited resources? So, economics is the study of how people make choices to deal with scarcity. Then how do we figure out, with scarcity impacting everyone and with the understanding that you'll never get away from it? People that are wealthier still have scarcity. They just have different forms of scarcity. They still have wants and needs and limited resources. So then how do we as a society actually decide who gets what? How do we do that? And that's where government starts to come in, when you start to build systems and rules about how do we decide who gets what. Let's start with the price. You see this every day, the little sets of numbers. Price has a very simple definition. It is a measurement of value. If something is more valuable, price is higher. If something is less valuable, price is lower. Here's a clue about economics. If something is more valuable, it is more scarce. If something is less valuable, it is less scarce. So saying that, when something is more scarce, the price will be higher. Well, what makes something more scarce? Number one, there's less of it available. Number two, people want more of it. Or number three, both are actually happening at the same time. Okay? This creates more scarcity, price would go up. Flip mode. What makes something less scarce? Thus, a lower price. More of something is available. People want less of something. Or both are happening at the same time. What is definitive is if something is a higher price, it is more scarce. If something has a lower price, it is more scarce or is less scarce. Okay? And people will react to these prices. And this is how you get people to change their behavior and make choices. Okay? Think about this. She who shall not be named, Volda Swiftie. Okay? She had probably the most successful concert tour of all time. The price of her tickets when she released them were $253.56 on average. But when the concert started to ramp up, people were trading tickets, exchanging tickets for money, not at $253. People were buying them for, on average, $3,801. Price went up. The tickets for her concert became more scarce. Why? People wanted to go. There were a limited number of concerts available. Now, if suddenly Taylor Swift had been caught in the Epstein files, less people would want to go, price would have gone down. If she added more concerts, more available, price would go down. That's an example of scarcity going up. Pretty simple. Okay. Now, scarcity is sometimes a lot more complicated than you think because Taylor Swift is not the end all and be all. Water definitely is. You need it to live. However, here at Ukiah High School, I can go to a hydration station and pay $0 to fill my water bottle. Now, why is that? Well, it's actually more abundantly available. So the price of zero kind of makes sense. But its value is infinite. Like, if I don't have water, I will die. So will everybody else. And we use water in all kinds of things. But that's why when you look at, scarcity, it can be a little bit complicated. And there are other problems here because we know the value of water is super high, but if we value it at a price of zero, that creates other issues that we will talk about throughout the semester. So this is how kind of scarcity and prices work. Now, prices impact people's choices. If you want to get people to make certain choices and behave in a different way, start to change prices. Governments know this, businesses know this, you know this, because what is actually going to go, get you to go buy, certain clothing or a new car or solar panels for your home? If prices go down, you're way more likely to engage in that behavior. Prices go up, you don't. Okay, so this is how scarcity creates prices, which start to impact people's choices, which of course economics is how we make choices in dealing with scarcity. There are 5 core rules in economics. I'm giving you number 1 right now, and it's super important that you keep these in your head as we go throughout the entire semester. Number 1, people act within their own self-interest. People act within their own self-interest. People act within their own self-interest. You do it, I do it, everybody out there. Yes, if you do something that makes you feel good, you're still acting within your own self-interest. You're making yourself feel good, okay? Now, self-interest is an action taken that creates a personal benefit. It's not bad or evil, okay? You're not taking away from somebody else if you engage in an activity that increases your personal benefit. When you take away from somebody else, now you're engaging in greed. Okay. Now, understand when people talk about, like, why does government act like this? Well, what you're forgetting is government is ran by people, and people act within their own self interest. So now you have an idea of why a government does what it does, because economics rule number one. Okay. So in a democracy, to get reelected, you need to meet some of the interests of the people, but you want to be reelected. So your self interest is going to take over. You're going to represent the people. If not, you're not going to get in office very long. You might ask, okay, well, then, wow, that means a lot of people are self interested. How do we get people on the same page? And that's the challenge, because everybody has different values, and values are beliefs and practices that in life are very important to you. And you can't just ignore them. People have different concepts and measurements of family and work and self-reliance and independence and religion. I mean, you live in Northern California. Religion is not that big of an influence in Northern California. But if you go to Kansas, all of a sudden religion becomes a much greater influence. Their values aren't better or worse, but they are different. And if you want people in that part of the world to change, engage or shift their choices based on their self-interest, you can't just say that religion is bad. And then you start to get into countries like Pakistan or Afghanistan or Iran, where religion is hugely influential in terms of values. Then you're really engaged in issues of, like, how do you get people to change their choices? All right. So these values are individual and societal. Everybody is engaged in self-interest. Everyone's in the same mission, and that is trying to deal with scarcity by making choices. That is the overall idea of the course.